What's good? Welcome to another edition of the Major Music Lounge. Your boy D Dot. Tonight's guest, we're actually going to have Beatmaker Is The Squad, also known as Cheese the producer, on the show. And one of the things that kind of drew me to him, and we're gonna probably talk about this during the interview. When I personally started up with making beats on iPad, he was one of the guys as far as like being a really good resource on maybe like new apps that came out, and how to use certain apps. Really, I think I've learned a lot about iOS music production from Beatmaker Is The Squad, and it's going to be really good to discuss that with him on the show. If this is your first time watching, I love to do interviews with other producers, just talking about their journey in the music production world, and just to get some perspective from them as far as the work that they're doing. You could actually subscribe to this channel. I do these shows pretty much every other week. I may start dropping them every week. We'll see how things go over the next couple of weeks. But to everybody that's kind of participating, so to everybody that's been participating thus far, I thank you for participating. I thank you for supporting. And if there's a certain producer that you'd like to see me interview on this show, go ahead, drop the name in the comments, and you can watch this on either YouTube or IGTV, wherever you hang out mostly. Definitely, if you do watch it on IGTV, I pretty much have to drop those in 2 or 3 parts depending on the length of the interview, because Instagram only allows you to upload 15 minutes of video each time, as to where on YouTube I can go ahead and upload the full interview. So without much further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get to that, and hope y'all enjoy this. This is gonna be Cheese the producer, aka Beatmaker Is The Squad. You can follow them on IG at Beatmaker Is The Squad, and let's get into it. It's first and foremost definitely a pleasure to do this interview with you. I mean, we've been following each other online for a couple of years, man.
Yeah, like 2, 3 years or whatever. Because I know I started the page about 2, 3 years ago. Yeah, and I think it ended like, I don't remember. It was like 2017. But yeah, and anybody I could find that was out there on the iPad, I was following. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I was like, yo, we gotta build this. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, like the coolest thing about this, like, is that everybody's mad cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it was a few years back. A few years back, like, you put something out and everybody has something to say. You know what I mean? Everybody has something negative to say. Oh, you whack, you this, you that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all the internet trolls. I'm not saying that trolling has like died down, but like, it seems like to me, like, people, it's a lot more people out here realizing that, like, yo, I'm trying to create too, so I'm not gonna shit on nobody else. You know what I mean? So yeah,
that's one thing, man. Like, really about the iOS production community as a whole. Like, I used to get, before I even started doing beats on iPad, you always had guys, old FL Studios better, old machines better, and you don't have as much of that on the iPad as you do like on a computer. It's weird how that works.
But you know what it is I think because on the iPad, what happens is, like, every program got its one little tiny like limitation, and so people is like, yeah, I'm not going to like go all in and say like, oh, I'm Beatmaker 3 this, or I'm Core Gadget this. They just like, we iOS. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we all got it's one big gang, and they all got little subsets.
Man, so I guess, in that, talking about that, like, what got you started with the whole iOS production thing?
I mean, honestly, like, so, like, I've been producing, like making beats since like '99, or whatever, and it got to a point with me where it was like, most people they produce because they're like, oh, I want to get a placement, I want to get a placement. I'll keep it a buck with you. I don't care about placements. I don't care. Not because of any lack of confidence in myself. It's just more so because I'm older now. I'm not gonna be out here like sacrificing all this stuff to possibly get like you know, $2,500 or $5,000 up front, and maybe I might see it back in. You know what I mean? It's it is what it is for me. Like production is it's a part of my life. Making beats is a part of my life. If it should happen to lead to some money, dope.
Yeah.
Dope is all hell. But if it don't, you know what it does lead to? It leads to my sanity, it leads to my happiness.
Yeah.
So like I always like would keep like a laptop with me. My laptop, I dropped it a few times, you know what I mean? It was acting a little jinky, like the screen. It was, you know, the old black MacBook.
Yeah.
So I had like the screen had a line down the middle of the screen. And so I had like, I mean, I still got the laptop, but it don't work because I dropped it so many times. So you can't see nothing. But I was running Reason on it. So I would just make beats on Reason on that and then come home and put on a big computer, you know, just take the file, put on a big computer. And so I had Beatmaker 1 on my iPhone 3G way back. You know what I'm saying? But that joint, yo, I don't know if you ever messed with Beatmaker 1, but Beatmaker 1, for me at least at the time, it was like pulling teeth just to get like an 8-bar loop. I made one beat on it, and like because it took so much work, I was like, yeah, it generally cost me like, I think it cost like $10-$20. I was like, it only costs a few dollars. Like I'm not even that mad at it. Then a couple years later, I seen Beatmaker 2. Machine Masters used to do videos. And I seen Beatmaker 2, so I bought it one day. But by then I had the iPhone 6, I think. But my iPhone was messed up, so I would go to try to make a beat on it. It would crash. So I was like, all right, this is the last time. At that point, I was like, this is the last time I'm buying any of these apps or whatever, da. So my phone, I had got it replaced. And then when I got it replaced, I was like, oh yeah, let me download that Beatmaker 2 joint. So I downloaded Beatmaker 2. That afternoon, I made a beat with it. So I was like, oh, this one is crazy. The next afternoon, I got the camera connection kit because I used to keep a laptop and a little the Kai, I think it's called the LPK, something like that. The little
Yep.
MIDI controller. I used to keep that with me, like, you know. So I just like on lunch breaks in between classes, I just make beats. And so then next thing I know, I'm plugging the LPK into my phone, and I'm like, oh snap! Like this really is something. And I'm making, and like most people, they be like, oh no, you know, you could sketch out a beat. I was at that point, I was making full out beats on my phone. I live in New York City, so I take the subway everywhere. So for me at this point, it was getting me to work even on time because I was getting up earlier to make sure I can get a seat on the train. You know what I mean? So I could sit there, I could go in. Like, and then like ever since then, like before that, I had a YouTube channel, just like youtube.com, cheese, I was about to say Sleeves the producer, cheese the producer or whatever. And I had like fell off on it or whatever. So I was like, yo, I did a couple joints for iOS. I was like, yo, you know, I think it's better to make something like where it's like you kind of want, where it's about the people as opposed to being about me. You know what I mean? I was like, I think it's like, for me to make a channel and think that it's going to pop off because it's about me is real, like, that's real arrogant. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, nah, I was like, yo, I was like, I seen they got stuff for Ableton, they got stuff for this, they got stuff for that. I was like, yo, what if they had a whole joint just straight for iOS? And at that point, I only knew about Beatmaker 2, hence the name Beatmaker Is The Squad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then like, and the dope part about it was like, as I started posting more stuff, people was like, yo, do you know about this app? You know about that app? And I ain't even I kid you not. I thought all the apps was like $10, and people was like, nah, you gotta get Cubasis too. That one's like 50. But this is the crazy part. By that point, I got so used to the prices. I was like 50. Nah, they bugging. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, pretty much that was it. Like it was just like kind of like it was like a natural progression for me. Like literally, like I'll be honest with you. At that point, I had Ableton Live, and I had Push 2. And when my phone started working, I started realizing that like this was serious and I could do this on the go. My Push 2, it was perfect timing. It was my Push 2 and my computer was not working together. Like every time I turned on Ableton, literally, like it would just be sitting there, just regular, like nothing playing. It's just on stop, and the CPU usage would be up to like 98, like just sitting there. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, what is going on? So I was like, forget it. Like, I'm done with this. So I solo push, got an iPad, and from there it was history, bro.
Yeah, man.
Straight up.
I came in like actually on Beatmaker 2.
Okay.
And the reason I did, I had met someone years ago, probably around 2017. I went to a I standard beat camp here in Dallas, and I saw the dude over there was using it. So I just was like, you know, what were you using? So he put me down on it, and at that time I had an iPad Mini, and you know I saw how really effective making beats in Beatmaker 2 was. And I went from that to, you know, getting the iPad Pro, and it's, I think right around that time, yeah, maybe a little after, I think is when I came across your channel and everything that you was doing, and that's when I really started kind of getting more serious about iOS production, because the computer that's right behind me, it's a 2013 model, and man, that thing is so slow. Like the one I'm actually talking to you on right now is my new M1, so
yeah,
it's a lot better. But like it forced me to really learn the iPad production wise before I moved on to what I'm on now. And you know, I try to put a lot of guys on it, because if I was coming up, like, let's just say this was 2005, 2006 when I first started doing this, I would have went all in probably on the iPad at that time.
Bro, like, yo, one thing that's crazy to me is like if you really think about it, right? Like, and just this is just being me, just like so many years of like messing with different doors and everything like that, and like after a while figuring out, yo, they all actually do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, but the other thing, like, is like you realize, like, yo, like if I was coming up right now and all I had, and like, and I had access to an iPad, like I could really like you get like all right, let's not even say I had access to an iPad. You get an iPad that's like about $1,000, right? You get something like Beatmaker 3. That's, I think it's Beatmaker 3 is probably what, $25, $30 right now. Get you a camera connection kit, that's an extra $40. We haven't even hit $1,100 yet. You get this, matter of fact, this microphone I'm using right now, right? This is a toner joint. It's $60 on Amazon right now. It come with the boom arm and everything, right? That's I mean, still, I think we still under 1,200, and get you a MIDI keyboard if you want one. You know what I mean? That'd be like another $100 or whatever, and an audio interface. And you know you can get audio interfaces for like all different prices. Like for $1,500, I would say. And I'm not going to sit here and act like $1,500 is not a lot of money to some people, but compared to the fact that when we was trying to do this, MPC 2000 XL cost $2,000 with 8 megabytes of RAM, no effects card, no 8-ounce card, like, and it came with a floppy drive. Come on, son. And you had to change that drive out. You had to put the compact flash drive or the zip drive in there. You had to put extra memory in there. The effects board, the 8-out card. Like, if you didn't want to be sitting there tracking beats out one by one, because I've done that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then if you tracking them out, you got to get a board that could take eight audio inputs. In 2000, come on, like, man. You imagine the price of that back then, like you know what I'm saying? Like I remember I started with an inbox, and the inbox only had left and right, and that was $500. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, it came with Pro Tools, LE or whatever, but still, like, I mean, hell, yo, wait, I'm saying Beatmaker 3, you can start with GarageBand on a phone. You know what I mean? Like. So, like, I mean, like, I feel like I always say this. I always feel like our generation got the best of both worlds, because we came in on the tail end analog and the very beginning digital, and so we got So like we grew up with like VCRs, but when by the time we was grown, they had DVD players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like, or like LPs to CDs, or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So like we grew up with the tangible videos, music, all that stuff. So like, I don't know. I just feel like it was worth more to us because it's like it wasn't like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of music is free now, and I don't think there's anything wrong with music being free because the music could be out there, but I feel like because it's free, it's disposable. You know what I mean? And so like, so people will make a song and they don't really care about it because they like, well, you know, it's all good. If it's whack, people forget about it in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
like, this is what happens. But so are the times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You know, it's kind of funny you say that because ironically, I worked at Best Buy from
Mm-hmm.
'01 to like 2012, and I literally saw
Wow.
CDs go on the shelf to digital, like them not carrying everything. I remember
Yeah.
selling CDs 10 years ago and all that, man. And you know, it's amazing how things have came, even like box software. I remember
Yeah.
we in fact my first production program, I bought Magic Music Studio around '03, '04.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a loop based program. And
Okay.
then kind of like you said, I got into Reason at that point, maybe around '05, '06.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, just kind of everything else just took off. And you know, you're right. Every program, you know, a lot of guys, in fact, and I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. I don't know if you heard about it, but in fact, like it's kind of a little bit off base, but today a lot of people are talking about Timbaland and the whole, you know, sampling. I think he's trending on Twitter for sampling some like Middle Eastern song.
Oh,
And
that's
there's a
old news.
yeah,
They brought that back up.
they
What
brought that back.
for Big Pimpin'?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
talk. Yeah,
That
that yeah. I'm my fault. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and it's just like personally, I think it's a dead end debate. It's something that's been
Hmm.
going on. I've been arguing with friends for 10, 15, almost 20 years about
Yeah.
sampling. You know, if you don't like the sample, don't sample. But I don't criticize other producers who choose to sample.
You know what? When it comes to sampling, like, see, I always say this. Like, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not music." I be like, "All right, so you do it. Like, you do it. You pick up a sampler. You figure out how to turn oh my goodness how to turn what's the song oh my god, Hollywood Swinging into bad boy. You pick up a sampler, you do that. You turn Hollywood Swinging into that, like with a sampler, and you tell me that that's not art and it's not creative. After you do that, after you put all that work in, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's you know what I mean? Like, it's so many other like examples. That's just like one of the first one that just popped into my head, like when you said sampler, because I always like, I remember people used to always say, "Yo, Puffy ain't no producer. He don't push no buttons on a sampler or whatever like that." And so, so now, so before it was like, okay, well, looping is like, it's always like levels to like what people consider like art and what they don't consider art. Like, I'll be honest with you, it's usually people on the sidelines who don't know anything about it is usually the ones that saying it. So like, this is the reason why like I take this approach with like I try to take this approach with a lot of stuff. But like if I talk about sports, you know what I'm saying? I try not to be the person saying, "Oh, this person is trash. That person is trash." Da 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 da. Because like my thing is basketball, right? The 15th man on the worst team would still smoke me.
Yep, yep,
You know what I'm saying?
yep.
And these cats out here, they live basketball and whatnot. So for me to be a person on the sidelines talking about, oh, he's trash, he's this, he's that, like with my people, we'll talk, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll be like, nah, I wish this player would, could maybe get a little stronger, do a little this, do a little that. But you won't hear me say that like publicly. You know what I mean? Because I feel, because like I said, I played basketball in high school and I was garbage. Like I was straight garbage. You know what I mean? Like so, like you know, and so for me to try to comment on somebody that's doing something like on a professional level, on that level with it, you know what I mean? Like where they have millions of people watching them, millions of people scrutinizing them. Nah, man. So when it comes to like music and sampling and stuff like that, like I used to be on some like real purist stuff, like when it came to sampling, like to the point where like when it came to production, period, I was on some purist stuff, like where it came to like where I would like turn my nose up at people that use like the joints, the MIDI scalers, like the joints that would tell you if you playing the right note or the wrong note, and it would fix the note for you. Oh, that's I went to school, I got me a degree in music. That's cheating. Stupid. Shut up. Like it's like you know what I mean? Like so like people like to me it's like people who always like kind of they got something to say. A lot of people got something to say, ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Because it's a lot of people that they say that type of stuff, and I know exactly what you mean about
Mm-hmm.
those sports thing too. Because I played, and even like when it comes down to music, I've been in
Mm-hmm.
the lab with artists that I didn't like at
Oh,
first, and like major artists, and
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when I get in the lab with them and see how they work, I have a newfound respect for them.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I in fact, I'll tell this story. Like it was probably about 10 years ago with some of my homies out here. We were in the lab with Lil Flip,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't say I was the biggest Lil Flip fan. I didn't hate him,
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, I get it.
I got in the lab with him, and dude, literally in 30, maybe 45 minutes tops, came in the lab. He drove from Houston to Dallas, which is about 3 hours, give or
Mm.
take. He came in the lab, dropped his verse, and then he left. And we were just like, what the hell? Like
About
that
his
fast.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a newfound respect for him after that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of look at other producers that way. We don't know, like a lot of these guys, they're a little more private as far as not posting their workflow online.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, they might come up with something that's phenomenal, but I'm not gonna judge how they make it. I don't
Yeah.
care what program. Nobody ever
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I don't like that song because it was made in FL Studio."
Yo, listen, man. Like I remember. Do you remember? Like I think it was probably like around about the early 2010s. Around that time, online, everybody was like, "Oh, um, you need to have analog gear to make that good sound, yo. You can't make good music with digital sound." And it used to kill me because I'd be like, so I'd be asking like, so what do you mean by analog gear? And he's like, like an MPC. I'm like, fam, first off, an MPC is digital. It's a computer. Like, but like a Triton. I'm like, also a computer. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, to me, analog means it moves with tape. You know what I'm saying? So like, but then they were like, nah, but you can't be making beats on a computer on. I remember people used to always be like, oh, reason is this, reason is that, and then they found out, and then what's the name? T.I. had that song, why you want to go and do that, love, huh? And the producer that did it broke it down, and he pulled out a laptop and and a little M audio controller and opened up Reason. I was like, oh yes. You know what I'm saying? Like people always got something to say, man. Like, look, I know of people who still work with like Pro Tools, like what's that, 7? That was the one that came on in the early 2000s when it was first went to LE. Still work with Pro Tools 7. And guess what? It still works. All them EQs on there still work. The preamps or whatever on there still work. The reverb, delay, all that. It all still works. And it's like, I'll be honest with you right now, if my computer that was running that still worked and I had to use it, I wouldn't have no problems whatsoever. No problems whatsoever. You know what I mean? People get caught up in the hype, man. Like Mm-mm.
Gotta be the
Like,
first to have the next best thing.
man, listen, I'll be the first to have the oldest best thing, man. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, you ever heard of do Junkie XL? He's a composer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you watch him on YouTube, but he like his studio used to have mad gear in it. I'm talking like a wall of synthesizers, like the modular joints, I'm talking like the 20, 40,000 top dollar synth. He had like all the old samplers and stuff like that. And so recently he sold a lot of it. I'm not sure how much of it he sold, but I know he sold it. I know he said he was getting rid of a substantial amount. And he was talking about it, and he was like, people were like, "Yo, how'd you get so much gear? Like, you must have spent so much money on it." He's like, "Well, yeah, I did spend some money on it." He's like, "But usually the way I get it was I get it when people don't want it no more." He's like, "I know what these things can do," and he's like, I could never afford like a Kai S900 when it first came out." But when everybody was done with the S900 and they were selling them for $150, I was picking them up. I do the same thing. Like I catch some old Akai samplers on eBay for like $150. I got a rule. I don't spend no more than $250.
Yeah.
And I will get like some I will get somebody else's trash and I'll turn it into my own treasure. You know what I mean? So like I'm not like I don't care about having the latest stuff. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you got the computer, you got the latest stuff already. You know what I mean? And so I want to mix a little bit of the old with the new and make a nice little like sandwich or whatever you want to call it, and just make it rock,
Yeah, man.
So
It. I saw you bought that. Was it a Kai sampler recently?
yeah. Well, I bought this. Well, I've been, I ain't gonna lie to you. This whole thing with us being home, like, I've been on eBay crazy, man. And it's the yeah, my girl's like, "You bought another sampler, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I bought another sampler." Nah, but I got a Kai S20. And it's crazy because this is actually the sampler I started out on in '99. So I sold it after, obviously after getting some stuff that was quote unquote better. And I didn't realize what I had. And so I wanted to go back to it because like I was like, yo, I I wanted to kind of prove to myself that um like I could make something, make some good music with the gear that I started out with. You know what I mean? Just to kind of also like, because if I prove it to myself, then I feel like, yo, this is something I could kind of put out on YouTube or whatnot to kind of tell people like, yo, like don't get caught up in like, oh, such and such uses this, such and such uses that. You know what I mean? Like listen, like, yo, if you want to get caught up in that, then people should know that what's his name? Kendrick Lamar has songs on the radio that was made on GarageBand. T Pain he made a
The
lot of
second
stuff in
album, yeah.
GarageBand. Yeah. And I remember he was saying that I remember him saying something one time that he was like he would like drive around with his laptop in his car and like I guess an audio interface or whatever, and just like kind of record vocals in the car, like if he had to. I'm not 100% on this, but I'm just saying, like you do what you can with what you have. You know what I mean, and make it work for you. Like hell, like if you want to go way back, like you look at like DJ Premier, and he used that was the MPC 60 and the S950 what 20 years, maybe even more, you know what I'm saying, and like and like when that stuff came out, what, like probably like 89, 90 or something like that. And here we was in like 2010, and like the Renaissance, I think that was around the time Renaissance and stuff like that was starting to come out. And they finally got to I remember seeing them in the studio, and they handed him the little Slim, the FPC Studio, and he was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? But like I don't know, I just, like I love gear, so I'm not gonna sit here and badmouth nobody for like buying gear, because I am a gear. I see, like, just like you, I see you love the gear too. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, I don't think like I like a person like you. I don't think you're buying gear because it's like, yo, I need this to make me get this sound. I need that to make me get that sound. I think you buy gear like because of me. Like I mean, just like I do. Cause like I look at something and I be like, yo, that looks really dope. And then you look at the specs, you be like, oh nah, it does this, it does that. Like right now, I'm fighting myself to not buy MPC Live or MPC One. Like literally, I'm fighting myself. And then I seen now that Cats is got the MPC One powered with the external battery.
Yep.
Nah, fam. Because the MPC One reminds me of the MPC 1000. You know what I mean? Because it's just the form factor of it. Like I'm fighting it, bro. I'm fighting
I had the 2000 XL, you know, like we were talking about, brought it about 10, 15 years ago. And I ended up having to sell it because at that time I had a white MacBook that went out on me. And I saw the MPC One earlier last year. And I'm like, man, I've been thinking about getting back into it. That was the perfect time to do it.
Hell yeah.
Man, I just kind of love that Akai workflow, and I kind of had to get back into it. And you know, just slowly, really over probably the last year and a half or 2 years, I've been putting together like a dollar setup. And you know, I just want to kind of be able to produce on hardware as well as produce on the computer, because in the event I have a computer go out on me again, boom, I got something I can keep on going with.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things I think that people overlook is how just the like how it kind of the workflow kind of changes when you're always looking up at a screen. You're just always looking up at the screen. You know what I mean? Like it's a little less connected. You know what I mean? Like I used to have I used to have an MPC 3000, right? And like I said, I'm a gearhead. Like so, when I at one point I seen the 3000 on on eBay, and I was like, oh no, I got to make this happen. So I get the joint, right, and like the 3000 was probably one of my favorite samplers I ever had. For the mere fact that number one, it sounds incredible. Like when you put something into it, it doesn't like it has like the high end is kind of cut off a little bit, but it still sounds good. It like, you know what I mean? But then beyond that, like when you're chopping those samples, you're doing it all by ear. Yeah. Like there's numbers on the screen, but there's no waveform. You know what I mean? So like, you know, you sitting there, turning the dial, hitting the button, turn down, hit the button, turn down, hit the button. You know what I mean? And it kind of like it puts you in a different place, because you really gotta listen. You really gotta make sure stuff is on point. Ain't no undo buttons. You know what I mean? I think, let me tell you, man, the undo button I think has made people so like, I don't know. I think I would be more scared without an undo button. You know what I mean? Because like I wouldn't be able to experiment. I would like. The first thing I always look for is like how many levels of undo does a program have? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? like it's like 10. All right, cool. Like I could really get busy to be like, all right, yeah, maybe I should Control Z. You know what I mean? But I think people like, because before you had to commit, I think the undo makes people scared to commit. You know what I mean? So like they like, I don't know. I just like I like old stuff because it's limited. I like new stuff because it's limitless, and I like to bring them together. And it just kind of makes it's just real dope. You know what I mean? At least in my opinion, you know.
Man, so it's so all the younger guys, you know, if y'all out here listening to this, you know, take a chance, get yourself some hardware. You know, even if it's a drum machine and a sampler, or you know, whatever that looks like, and just, you know, try it out. Step away from the computer for a moment and just experiment. Try something new. You never know what you'll make out of it. I mean, I don't have a lot of synths. I have the Uno drum, Uno synth.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Micro Freak, and if you want to throw in the MPC One, and you know, that's the 4 pieces of hardware. There are other things I'm kind of thinking about adding to it, but you know, like you said too, I also kind of slowed down with some of it over the last year, because I felt like at one time
whether it was apps, whether it was plugins, whether it was hardware. I was
He's
buying too many
collecting them.
things and I wasn't
Yeah,
learning how to use them.
exactly, man. Yeah, though I got so many. I have an app. I forgot what it's called, but it's a synthesizer, right? But like it's synthesizer. It's also AUV3. This app is dope as hell, and I do not know how to use it. And the reason why I say it's dope as hell is because it's not just one synth; it's 8 synthesizers layered together. So like you could have it like so where one part of your keyboard plays the first synth, another octave plays a third, or like you have all 8 synthesizers laid across the entire keyboard. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I like it's almost like it's like a synth and a multi-sampler like type of thing. But you know what I mean? But it's a synthesizer instead, like so you can like it's crazy. I think it's called Audio Layer. It might be called Audio. I'm not 100%
I know what you're
sure.
talking about.
It's been out for a while. It's like a black screen and a white screen. It's a real minimal design, real clean. But it's dope.
They make a lot of different
I think it's might be Versin.
It is Versin. Yep, it's Versin. Yep.
So you know exactly the app I'm talking about.
Yep.
I've had that app for years, bro. For years I've had that app. And like you really sit down, you think about it. Like I bought that app off the specs alone. You know what I mean? And like you saying, like at that point, they was popping up. I was buying them. It's like whack-a-mole. Like it was like I got an app. Boop. You know what I'm saying? So like I get you. Like I'll be honest with you. Like I've really slowed down on getting the apps like lately. Like now, like only thing I'm looking for, I look for like anything I can find that's free. And if it's not free, that's when I'm finding out about it, and I'm being like, yo, anybody check this out? Like, how is it? Let me know. Like any info was good. You know what I mean? Like even if it's $1, like I want to make sure like my dollar is being well spent because you know, like I got apps that like I bought years ago, and I was like, damn, I bought this app. Like, wow, like you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Like I got. Have you like speaking of apps? Have you seen that Mix Rack joint yet?
Yeah, I bought it last week. Yep.
I ain't gonna lie, that one I had to get. I had to get like because mad people was telling me, nah, it's good, good. Because at first I looked at it and that price, and it was like 40, but they was like, yo, this is half price for a little while. I was like, I don't want to be out here spending 80 when the joint go up.
Yep.
And that joint is serious.
Sick,
you know what I mean?
Like that's the best mixing suite. Mixing plugins that ever came out on iPad. I mean, because you look at like even the Fat Filter plugins, they were $30 a pop.
Right, and they only did one thing.
Yep, and this is a whole suite of things. Right here.
I like that one because like you could like if you're like mixing like Beatmaker 3 or something like that. It's like anytime if I'm mixing anything, it's usually Beatmaker 3. Like if I have like because I'll have all my drums in like one bank, right? And then like you put effects on it might put effects on the individual drums, but I want to like really glue the whole thing together. That mix rack allows me to do that with one effect as opposed to having like, you know, like a compressor, an EQ, you know, saturator. Like I can do that all like now. Granted, that it's probably going to be a lot more processing power, you know, but either way, still like. I mean, like, that joint is sick. Like to me, like for that to be like, for the fact that I could like, if I wanted to, like I could be on a bus and I could pull something like that out. I could just be sitting there mixing a track or making a sound or whatever. Man, listen, like they don't know the power they put in people's hands.
Get the mix rack. Get the mix rack.
Anywhere. You know what I mean? I got a homeboy who was saying my homeboy Jay I do We Sample Everything podcast, What's in the iPad podcast. My homeboy Jay on a podcast he says he does most of his mixing in his car, and I was like, dude, like that is the optimal that's an optimal place to mix because like everybody comes back to the car to see what the mix sounds like, you know what I mean? And so like, why not mix in the car? You know what I mean? Like you know, like I think the worst part about it is that you can't sit right in the middle. You know what I mean? To have like the whole triangle with the ears and everything. But like,
outside of
It's
that.
I think you get around that.
Man, we got about 5-10 minutes left, so I'm gonna hit you
All
with a
right,
couple of quick hitters.
all right.
So with all the apps that you use for production, if you can
Mm-hmm.
have just one app to use and that the last app you use forever, what would that be?
Oh, Beatmaker 3, hands down.
Beatmaker.
That
Yeah,
sampler in there is everything. That
I agree.
sampler is everything.
I
You
agree
know.
with you on that. I mean, I probably in the last since I started using Beatmaker 3, probably made more beats, if not just about the same amount as I make like a machine on my computer.
Hmm.
And those are my all overall, those are my probably two favorite apps.
Yeah, and Machine and Beatmaker 3, they work very much the same way. How one pad is like a whole like a whole its own sampler. You know what I mean? Like, and then like you could chop a sample with just and like that. You could turn that one pad into like a bunch of pads, or you know what I mean? And then like I because I was using Machine for a little while. And then moved on, you know what I mean, before I got to iOS. So yeah, them two they real close together too.
Real
Like,
close, man. I think the workflows, that's probably why it drew me very close to
mm-hmm,
Beatmaker 3. The workflows are very similar to that.
mm-hmm,
The only thing I wish they would change the arranger in Machine to the one to a similar arranger like
bro.
in Beatmaker.
That the Machine Arranger was one of the reasons why I stopped using Machine, because like I was playing bass lines into beats, but I'd have to like record the bass line because they didn't have like the live audio tracks at the
Yep.
time, so I had to record the bass line to a pad. And then like so like if it's like so if I'm playing bass for the whole song or whatever, right? Then I gotta take that pad and either chop that up by bars and then have it trigger it by MIDI. It's like, bro, like this is
Too
way too
much.
much work. Like if I
Yeah.
want to like just put a bass line on the song. So and I know like I could have used it in another program as a VST. It's still it's like I made the beat in Machine now. Why I'm gonna turn around and take it out of Machine just to add a bass line? That's the only one thing I wanted to do. So I feel you on the sequence on that one.
Um, is there an artist out there maybe that, or even a producer
Uh
that
huh.
you'd like to work with that you never worked with before?
Oh man, shoot, I work with anybody. Nah, if it was an artist. Ooh, I don't know. I don't really listen. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't listen to much music like that too much anymore. Like I do, but I don't like not too many like I don't listen to much hip hop no more. Just cause like it's not that it's bad or anything like that. It's just like it's it's only but so many motherfuckers I can shoot while I go to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Since I want to listen to some real chill. Um. Artist or producer? I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'll throw the obvious one out there. Like, I mean, I came up in the era. I always wanted to work with like Jay-Z and
Yeah.
a producer. I know people don't like him because his whole political stance, but if I could work with Kanye West, like I'm not even gonna lie to you, like, cause dude, he's like, yeah, he's up here, you know what I mean? Like, it's obviously like, it's a few fries short of a Happy Meal at times, you know what I mean? But when it comes to that music, like, when it comes to art, period, his creativity, I think, is crazy. I think, like he obviously, got to get a couple things in balance, and he got to get a couple things balanced and checked, you know what I mean? But like, I like when it comes to the artistic side, that man is a monster. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say those two, like Jay Z and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I can't disagree with that. Jay-Z, and I know you personally, you grew up in New
Hmm.
York, so that's kind of like part of the culture for you. And
Yeah.
I know us on the outside looking in, that was kind of like, after like Pac died, that was like probably my favorite artist you know, most of my adult life. And
Yo, I'll be for me in New York, because like, all right, so for us in New York, like, and this the part of our generation that I hated, right? You couldn't like Pac and Biggie, right? You know what I mean? I mean, you could, but like, people's like, how you like both? You know what I mean? And like, so being that I was from New York, like, technically we were supposed to not mess with Pac. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, like, I have Pac albums. Like, I have quite a few Pac albums. You know, like the ones that came out before he went to jail. Like, what's that? Me Against the World is like one of my favorite Pac albums. You know what I mean? Um, what's the other one?
Strictly for my niggas. Yep.
Yo, that one, yo, like, holla if you hear me, like that, yo, that is one of the dopest songs that he made. You know what I mean? So like, I say like, I hate, like, that's one part of our generation that's bad, is because like, it was bad, but it was good. Like, the fact that it was like so many regional like things, but it was good because like, you had a New York sound, you had a down south sound, you had a Midwest sound, you had a Cali sound. You know what I mean? For example, I grew up in like partly in the Midwest, so like, I had homeboys that was putting me on the 8 ball of MJG when I was still listening to like Tribe Called Quest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had, like, you know, before I heard Outkast, I heard the 8 ball of MJG. You know what I'm saying? And my man put me on. He was like, "Nah, you gotta mess with this right here. This is what we made with my boy from Chicago." He's like, "Yo, you gotta check this out." You know, and like, I just miss that. You know what I mean? When it comes to music, I miss the, like, oh, you could turn the song on, you be like, "Oh, he sound like he from down south." But you know what I mean? Or like, or you be like, yeah. Oh no, he definitely from New York. But like, or you have like somebody from New York or somebody from down south on the track, and so you get somebody down south on an East Coast track, or you get somebody from the East Coast on a down south track, or a Midwest, or you know what I mean? It was dope. You know what I mean? And now I feel like everybody makes the same type of tracks. Like, bro, I had a point. We were talking about working with artists. I had a point where I had an artist come in here from the Bronx, New York, talk about send them here. I had space bar. I was like, fam, wait, what happened to the 20 years you grew up in the Bronx?
Yeah.
What is this? What are you doing? He like, every time he like words like, oh, he like, oh, and I was like, come on, man. Like, you know, so I just feel like everybody's like chasing the same sound nowadays. And it kind of like, yeah.
No region, like, and that's interesting because like, I felt like that's part of all the culture. Like, you know, like, I go back, there's this channel on YouTube called Neutral Grounds.
Okay.
And they pretty much summarize a lot of like 90s and early 2000s like New Orleans, really like Louisiana hip hop. And watching that kind of takes me back to what that old bounce sound was. Because I listened, you know, like you, I listened to a little bit of everything back then.
Yeah.
Yo, some of my friends would be like, man, what, he listening to Jay-Z and Mos Def and Nas? Like, man, you from the South. And like, you know, I couldn't listen to anything outside of Louisiana. And you know, to me, that was kind of one of the unique things about the culture. You're right, that I do miss personally.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that it would go back to it, because a lot of guys for maybe about a 5-10 year period were just making trap beats. And now, you know, kind of now everything's going back to boom bap and like that G funk now. So
yeah, but see, I like the fact that boom bap is making a comeback, because like, I'm not saying all New York needs to sound like that, but we need to have that sound out there. And then, like, you know, and then let the South go back to like when it was making like those bluesy like guitar and bass driven tracks, like the way like UGK. Like that was that, like UGK stuff, like, you know, you would listen to that, you hearing guitars in there, you hearing basses in there, you hearing horns in there, you know what I mean? You know, like even with Outkast, when they had the live bands, when they did the way you I like the way you move.
Family. Yep.
Oh my goodness, you know, hell, hey man, I take it all the way out to the West Coast. You had Dre, and the way he mixed samples and live instruments, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I get it. Like, it's like people don't have the budgets to put that together no more. But man, I miss it.
Man. Well, before we go, where can people find you at online?
Yeah, yeah, you can find me online at beatmakeristhesquad.com. You can hit me up on Instagram at beatmakeristhesquad, or you can hit me up on Instagram at Cheese the Producer, or on YouTube, youtube.com/beatmakeristhesquad. Yeah.
All right, man. Look, man, I appreciate it rapping with you. Man, I
Hey,
wish
same
we
here,
would have
man.
had much more time. Anytime though, like you got anything going on, man, and you want to get it out there, feel free, reach out. You know, I'd love
For
to
sure,
rap
man.
with you again anytime, bro.
Hell yeah, bro. We definitely do this again. You should come on the like the What's in Your iPad podcast. Like, you should just come on with us one day. Just rock out with us. We usually do it Saturdays, 2 o'clock Eastern. So I think that's what
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock your time.
Yep.
I always forget how it works. But yeah, 2-1. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock your time. Saturdays we do it. We be on there, like, you know, for a couple hours. We usually record it like this, and then like Miss Les, she'll do all the chopping up and stuff like that, and then put it out probably like the next week, or whenever, you know, whenever like the order comes up or whatever. But like, you know, you should definitely come on over, man.
I'm gonna touch base with you because I'm free this weekend. So
Okay.
yeah, we could chop it up on that.
All right, for sure. Hit me up. I'll ask them and see what we got on deck for this weekend. If anything, we do that this weekend as well.
All right, man. Hey, until next time, man.
All right, man. Peace,
I'm
bro.
out.
Be
Peace.
good.